D, wait for it, light bulb.
Check out the name tag. You're in my world now, Grandma.
What's up, nerds? So, just finished the Bad Batch episode 6, and we've got to see Gungi this episode, the Wookiee Jedi, the youngling. It was nice to see that character come back. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen after this to that character. I'm just assuming that he won't be long for this world, this universe, in terms of like, I don't think we're going to see him perish or anything like that. But, I don't think that he's long for this world because Vader's out there. But it was nice to see a Jedi. I do have to admit, though, okay. So I said last week that I thought that they would do 2 filler episodes, and then this episode would be like a banger. This was not a banger. It was good, but only because last week's episode was just such a nothing burger. And the week before that was pretty good, but I mean, it was just not that great either. Like so far, the last 2 episodes were not bangers. The first 2 episodes were not bangers. That third episode, though, was really, really good. I really enjoyed that third episode, and I'm trying to figure out what it was about that third episode that really made it like click compared to the rest of these. So this episode was decent. It just wasn't as powerful as that third episode. And I think it's just because, we saw Gungi, but it was like we saw him in the trailers for this show. And it's just, I just go, it wasn't a big surprise. And, and the action sequences, I'm not quite sure, what's going on, but it didn't seem to me as like fluid in the terms of the way the Jedi move. And maybe that's just because of his inexperience and maybe because of the bulkiness of the Wookiee species. I'm not quite sure. But I just, something seemed a little off. And then some of the stuff just seemed a little off in terms of animation. Like there's these cat creatures, when they run, it just seemed very like video game, but like 1996 video game, like they were running weird. And then there's these spider creatures that I'm just saw like, what's going on here? The design of these spider creatures, which I'll show you later on, were just ridiculous. I was like, this is not good, but whatever. But so I mean, like, this episode wasn't bad. It could have elevated it to be a little bit better, but they didn't. And I think that they were just hoping people like us would just get member berries and be like, oh, we saw Gungi, that was good enough. And it's not good enough. I'm sorry. You can't just throw in a character and expect me to like the episode. You got to write a good episode. Okay. I'm going to stop yapping now and go through this episode. I always say I don't think I'm going to take that long. I don't think I'm going to take that long to get through this episode, but we'll see. But before I get started, I just want to say that if you like what I do here and you enjoy independent content here on YouTube, please consider subscribing to my channel. YouTube is always changing up their algorithm, and small channels like mine, we just keep getting shoved to the back of the line. So please ask that you like, share, and subscribe, and I thank you in advance. All right, so now that we got that out of the way, why don't we go ahead and get started on this episode? So it starts off, the Bad Batch is flying into this little port right here. And from what I could tell, this was run completely by robots. I couldn't tell because they only showed you one little spot of it. So they land, or at least this part of the spaceport was run by robots. So they come in, and Echo and Omega they're supposed to stay behind. As soon as they said that, I was like, oh, Echo's gonna do something, because she's got to put her little fingers in everybody's little pies. She's always got to put her fingers in the pie. She's got her fingers in everybody's pie, and she doesn't know how to just stick to her own business. She's a complete Yenta. I mean, I get that because I'm a Yenta too. So anyways, they go in here and they see the head robot, and they're like, we got the fake IDs. And they're like, we're going to have to check them. And he's like, I made them myself. They are perfect. And he's like, that's irrelevant. We are still going to have to check them. So they go through and they check them all. And while they're doing that, she's like, something's not right about this. And he's like, we won't be here that long. I'm going to go start the engines. And she's like, and then all of a sudden she hears like a crashing. So of course, like the nosy child she is, she has to go check it out. And there's Gungi. He is getting tasered. and put into this big old cage right here. And so she's like, stop, you're hurting him. And then, of course, he stops them and kills one robot or whatever, or she kills the other robot. And then she's like, come on, we've got to get out of here. There's more coming. So they go and hide, and then they're doing a little cat and mouse kind of thing, or robot and Wookiee kind of thing. And then finally this robot's like, she's like, don't come any closer. And then Gungi comes down from the rafters and zaps him. So he's looking for something, and then Echo shows up, and she's like, no, he's a friend. And he's upset because he's a clone trooper, so he's worried because the clone troopers killed off all the Jedi. Apologies, I just needed some caffeine. Caffeine is like 90% of my blood right now at this point. So they're all like, crap. So he's all like, that is an issue. And they're like, we will be back. He's like, and then the Hunter's all like, issue is a problem here. So then he's like, stop. And she's like, you're not going to take him. He's like, the buyer wants him alive kind of thing. So they're like, no, don't mess with our dudes and stuff. They're with us kind of thing. You're going to let us take them. And Gungi sees his lightsaber. Hold on. I just got a little there. He sees lightsaber in this head robot's sheath or whatever. And he does his meta Jedi mind trick and pulls the lightsaber. And he's like, and everything. So fighting ensues, and they get on the ship and they fly away. Yay! So he's all upset, and she's like, "Why is he sitting back there all by himself?" And I'm like, "Oh, Omega, for being so smart, you're kind of dumb, And he's like, "Cause he's scared." And so she's like, she brings him food. And he's like, and she's like, no, they're friends. And he's like, listen, he probably doesn't trust us because we're clone troopers, but we used to work for the Republic. We don't get along with the Empire. And so they're sitting here talking to him. They don't really get any like insight into what happened to him after Order 66, which would have been kind of nice. I almost would prefer a backstory, but it's fine. But I know a lot of people are like overhearing about Order 66 and sing it over and over again and stuff. But me personally, I'm totally fine. I want to hear everybody's story. So then they're sitting here and they decide they're going to take him back to Kashyyyk. And they're like, we know a tribe on the outskirts or whatever. And so they get ready. So they land there. There's Kashyyyk. Very beautiful. I like Kashyyyk. I like the Wookiees. So, because he doesn't know what tribe he's from, because this episode's called Tribe. So they land, and they get out, and they see these webs and stuff, and I was like, these webs, there's going to be giant spiders, like a Shelob kind of thing, but I'm like, it's cool, whatever, we'll see. So then they start walking and everything, and they're just walking, and they start cutting through these webbing. And as soon as they do that, these big giant spider-like creatures come out. But they're not like, they've got like this thing on the end of them. And it reminded me of those Rock'em Sock'em things where they just punch out like that and everything. And it's such a horrible design for a spider-like creature. Like you get the eyes right here and then the mouth. And then you get this weird like arm right here. It's just ugly. It's just an ugly design. Whoever designed this, shame on you. Shame on you. This is an ugly design for a creature. But they're like, they won't hurt us if we come across as unhostile. If we don't come across as hostile, they won't hurt us. So he does his little, we're good. And then they leave him alone. And so they're all like, it's only 40 clicks until we get to the thing. But they get to the village and it's been destroyed. It's been completely destroyed. And they're like, oh, the Empire must have destroyed him or whatever. And they hear some noises because he's all bummed. She's like, don't worry, we'll find your family or some crap like that. Making promises she can't keep because she's stupid. And they hear noises, so they hide. And they see these Trandoshans, these lizard people. They have Empire tanks. Like, how did they get a hold of some Empire tanks? And he's all like, well, hell. And he's like, hold the line or some crap like that. I can't remember what the lizard people says. And so they They start shooting fire, and they have a captive, a Wookiee captive, and of course Gungi is, a child, so he's erratic and can't handle it. So he runs after him. He blasts out his lightsaber and he's fighting, yada yada yada. Frees the Wookiee, and they stop these Trandoshans. So then while they're sitting here, he's I can't remember what she says, but they're gonna go and they're gonna find another tribe. But this guy comes back that they saved with these cat creatures right here with these big ass ears. I'll play it later, but they run really weird. Like it's like a lag on a video game. Like these creatures are pretty kind of cool looking, but at the same time, I'm like, whatever. Apologies for my yawning. I'm so tired. It's so early. Coffee. Okay, so then they take him back to their village, and this old elderly lady is their leader. And I can't remember what her name is. It does not matter. Don't get all upset about it. But they're like, we're bringing him back. He doesn't know his tribe. And she's all like, I can't remember. She doesn't say it here, but she says it later because they believe in the trees, the planet belongs to the trees or whatever. But she says, when a child leaves, the trees mourn. But when a child returns, the trees celebrate. She says that at the very end, but I'm saying it now. And this is where he says, we used to work for the Republic, but now we're not friends with the Empire. So then this Trandoshan's like, what is this? He's like, lightsaber scorches. And it's like, that's impossible. And he's like, well, I gotta destroy them. They're like, yeah, let's destroy them. And so they're sitting here eating some slop, some sloppy slop. It just looks like water, green water or whatever. But anyways, so yeah, so they're sitting here. So they're like, we got a plan to because the trees or whatever. They're talking to the trees. And so they're like, we got a plan. We just have to, it's solid. It's solid. So they get here and they attack, and they start attacking. Can't really see anything, but hold on. I wanted to play this because these things, they run so weird. So they blasty blast. He gets shot. Now look how they run. They're just so like slow. So they're blasting, and people are getting shot. Oh, here. This is a perfect example of these creatures running. Like, look how like weird it is. Like, it's really weird. I don't know. Maybe it's me. So they bring him to this webbing area because that's where they wanted to bring him, because we saw those spiders before, because foreshadowing. And that's where they're going to bring them to this webbing. So they're defeating all of these Trandoshans and stormtroopers. But this leader Trandoshan, he gets out the fire blowtorch thing. Not a blowtorch. A flamethrower. And he follows Gungi after all these Trandoshans. Oh, yeah, because the spiders come out and they tackle the Trandoshans. But this Trandoshan, he's gonna get Gungi. So he's letting things ablaze and everything. And Gungi comes out and he's like, and everything. And so he defeats it. He gets rid of his little flamethrower. But he's like, you want to do this? And then the spider things come down and they wrap him up and they take him away. They are gonna eat him. They are so going to eat him. Like, they are having lizard arms tonight for Din Din. And she's like, oh, the fire. And she's like, guys, the fire's spreading way too fast. He's like, get the other Wookiees or whatever. And I'm all like, they didn't show him putting out the fire, but I'm all like, okay, whatever. Apologies again. And then all is well. And they're eating and celebrating or whatever. And then this is the part where he's like, he's just a kid. But in this universe, they don't get to be kids anymore. And this is the line, this is the part where she says, when a child leaves, the trees mourn, but when a child returns, the trees celebrate, which I thought was like nice or whatever. And then that is the end of the episode, you guys, because they found Gungi a home. And the episode was not bad. It was just very like, kind of like, I don't want to say meh, because I did enjoy the action parts of it, But other than that, I was all like, this episode's not that great. I mean, like, there's nothing. A small piece of me wonders if they just kind of pumped this out because they're like, hey guys, we need stories here. Let's pump out some stuff and everything. I don't know who wrote this episode, but I just wish it was. I just wish it was more. Um, yeah. This season hasn't been that great. There's only been one banger episode, and then this episode was just okay. That's just my thoughts on that and everything. But and I hope I really want it to be like a consistent, like a good patch of episodes where I just go one after the other. You're just like, yes, good. And I'm not quite sure we're gonna get that, which bums me out. But those are my thoughts on this episode, you guys. Like I said before, I did like it. It just wasn't a banger for me, but I could be wrong. You never know. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time, probably not the last. But yeah. All right, tell me, what did you guys think about this episode? Did you like it? Did you not like it? What was your favorite part? Do you hope to see Gungi again, in Bad Batch season 2, or do you think it's fine if we don't see him again? Do you want to see other younglings that might have survived or, whatnot? Tell me what you guys think. Go ahead and leave all your comments in that section down below. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that like button. I won't mind. If you're new to my channel, please hit that subscribe button. I'd greatly appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on my next Bad Batch breakdown and review. You guys have a good week. May the force be with you. Bye.